Good morning, everyone. Am I audible now?
Good morning. Yes.
Good morning. I welcome all of you on the behalf of NextGen Innovate, Digital HR, and ASM Group of Institute for the GenZ SkillSync webinar series. This is the first episode of our webinar series wherein we will be discussing on the skills and competencies for Gen Z for the future workforce. I would take a little bit of your 5 minutes in giving you an idea about the digital HR. So, digital HR is a community for transforming the human resources. Our vision and mission is to build an ecosystem where HR leaders from diverse industries, backgrounds will connect, network, engage in a meaningful discussions, and that will help to promote a culture of collaboration through seamless knowledge sharing between the stakeholders of the community. Our mission is to be the world's leading community of HR professionals, fostering growth and thriving for organizational excellence. What are our facets? Is we do summits and webinars. We are starting and launching a digital HR club. We do master classes and workshops, and yes, research and editorials. These are our few of our previous speakers who have been the part of our journey. Why us? 25,000 plus HR professionals, 5,000 plus attendees through the journey of for 5 years of digital HR, 100 plus prominent speakers. We have 20 plus, develop the 20 plus regional chapters in the coming days. Then we did have the 700 plus hours of learning. 35 plus conferences and webinars we already did, 25 plus master classes and workshops that we did earlier. This is little bit about the summits and webinar that we are aim to bring together the HR experts, thought leaders, practitioners from various industries. All together we had 700 hours of learning. 100 plus prominent speakers have joined in the journey. 35 plus webinars and summits that we did. Our first one, which we did, in the 2023, we did in Delhi on the talent strategies to win the Great Shuffle. This was a kind of an attendees who have attended. So out of 245, 105 attendees, 4 attendees were present. Out of that, if you have seen, 40% are the CHROs, then you have the 23% senior HRs and the portfolios. Then the next one, we did it in Bengaluru last year. It was a role of employer branding in shaping the future of workplace, talent, culture, and organizational growth. Similarly, we had 213 participants in our second series of the HR Summit, and we had maximum participation in Bengaluru. Then we came back to Mumbai, where we discussed on HR role in nurturing raw talent. So we had again 190 party attendees who attended the event out of 297 registrations. We prominently do our webinars on a different subjects, different requirements, and we try to bring the important part of the community and the industry in front. These are the participant demographics in the webinar. You can see the company size, role-wise HR professionals, how they have participated. We are launching our first digital HR club in ASM Group of Institutes, which will believe in fostering discussion, conducting training, and promoting corporate engagement. The main motive of this is to transforming academia, building future workforce. So how do we do this? Is through the summit, CHRO roundtables, webinar talk series, mentorship training and development programs, internship and placement programs, industry talks and visits, and counseling and support services in the institutes and in the universities, which we will be forming our HR clubs, and we'll try to, and our aim is to have maximum HR academia conversations happen. Master classes and workshops is what we are planning to do. We will be inviting different HRs to have a master classes on certain subjects. We earlier did, if you can see, we did a master class of future of work with Ekta Singh ji. Then we did with Tushar Vaidya, and then Preeti Rena did on HR analytics. Research and editorials, yes. In the coming days, we will be asking the HR professionals, HR leaders to have their write-ups and their white papers, research papers to promote through our through our community, which will give a knowledge and insight for the wider audience. So we welcome such proactive HR professionals and experts to write for us, which will equip individuals with the information they need to make informed decisions and drive positive change in their organizations or in their institutes. So these are our associate partners. Cobus are our employer branding partner. InnoServe Solutions is a learning partner. ORAI is an AI partner. ASMA is our community for higher education and school. And yes, NextGen Innovate is running all of this as an event partner. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now, this is the time to invite and introduce our esteemed panel. So firstly, I will start with Arvind, Arvind Warrior. Arvind Warrior is a lead people and culture for Volvo India Private Limited. And then he is having 18 years of experience in executing people and cultural strategies. As a people and culture lead, he is accountable for to drive entire gamut of human resources programs and interventions at Volvo India Private Limited. Apart from developing HR strategies, he oversees various human resource practices such as developing corporate strategies on matters like compensation, health, safety, etc. And he is accountable for driving high performance work culture. So I welcome Arvind here.
Thank you very much, Manish. Humble and honored.
Thank you, Arvind. Moving ahead, we have Hemant Kumar Ravi. Hemant is a senior vice president and group HR head of Casa Grande Builders Private Limited. He's having over 17 years of diversified HR experience across industries, and he's actually a strategic and innovative HR leader who on a mission to drive people transformation, culture, talent strategy. He's an MBA HR from and IT from IMT Ghaziabad, and successfully set up a HR operations, led HR strategies, and implemented workday reporting capabilities across 54 countries and 1.7 lakh employees. So I would like to take the opportunity to welcome Hemant Kumar Ravi here. Moving ahead, I will take the responsibility to welcome Marin Varghese. Marin is is having around 12 years of overall experience, and he is at present manager for learning and development at Sama, and he found he has written a very nice conversation with me that he found ikigai in L&D very clearly in his career. He dabbed in customer service, academics, administration, and other facets of HR. And he worked with IT giants like Infosys and Tech Mahindra and mid-sized organization like Sama Technologies. He's extremely passionate about designing and executing training programs. And he believes that being a lifelong learner is the only way to be relevant for tomorrow. So welcome, Merin. Now I'm taking the going ahead to invite the moderator of today, Mr. Prithvish Bose. Prithvish Bose Prithvish Bose is actually, having a 2.5 decades of diverse corporate and consulting experience. Prithvish has played a pivotal role in driving success for businesses and individuals. He has worked across diverse industry sectors such as hospitality, retail, BPO, CRM, e-commerce, logistics, and supply chain, and has led key strategic projects in learning and development, human resources, sales and operations and consulting. Throughout his career, Prithvish has been passionate about nurturing talent. He has coached and mentored numerous professionals in his career advancement and positively impacted their growth. So, as a HR leader, he has been appointed in diverse roles in Flipkart, Reliance, and Hyatt Hotels and other companies. He's currently the founder and CEO of two consulting companies, India Skill Bridge, and an employability solution provider to corporates for early professionals to grow Promax, a talent development company providing coaching and mentoring support and to professionals. So I welcome our moderator Prithvish Bose, CEO of India Skill Bridge, and I request Prithvish to take the conversation ahead. Thank you.
So, welcome everybody. I think good morning, and what a lovely Saturday that we have a panel discussion on skills. And I'd like to first thank the organizers, right, for setting up this critical meeting, this important meeting, and the session. It's not just educational, but it's also something that will leave you with some thoughts for your future. And this is especially for students who are joining. For academia, also a lot of inputs that's going to perhaps come your way where you would benefit from it, because we have a esteemed panel of HR leaders and L&D leaders who are part of this group. So welcome. I want to welcome all of you, and I'm looking forward to a great interaction, Merin, Arvind, and Hemant, with you. Your experiences have been quite varied and vast, and we'll draw from those experiences. So that is something that we will do. Um, Having said that, I'm also, this topic for us is so important that currently the way the dynamics of the market is, there is a lot of shift that's moving from experience to skill first and skill based hiring across the market, and companies are realizing that the only thing that will keep us going is the dynamism and the way things are happening, whether it is technology, whether it is non-tech, right? There's a continuous evolution that's happening. Therefore, this session today is going to be of pivotal importance. However, let me also tell you that we will not just be talking about skills and competencies. We will first get to know what is the world of work. How is the world of work changing today, right? So, with that, I think what we'll do is that we'll first open up the questions and then expect the responses from each of the panelists. My request to all the students and others in the audience to kind of take note of these responses, and if there are some thoughts and something that you can think of which you want to share or ask questions, we have a session, Q&A session at the end of this the panel discussions, and you can very well share your thoughts there, right? All right, so with that, I think let's move on to the Q&A. Hemant, the first question I'd like to come to you.
Sure.
How does the future of work look like, right? Before going into the skill part, I thought we would first understand how is the future of work look like according to you.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite, Nayan, and the entire team behind the scene, and thanks for moderating the session. I bring around 17, 18 years of work. I'm an engineer and then accidental HR that way. So I graduated like all of you, like 90 plus audience who are there in the call. We did engineering, which is 70% of the mass will do engineering, right? And then you'll try to have their ikagai, that where do you want to be, right? So I will take example from Accenture. So in Accenture, when I was working between 15 to 18, there was a lot of buzz about future of work. What is the future of work look like? And come 8 years down the line, right? I mean, I still we are as a company, as an organization, as an individual, I'm trying to figure out where we are heading to, right? So few examples I'll quote from the personal life experience so that you can resonate with it. I think technology advancement is gonna go high. So what I mean to see, it's no linear technology requirement. So if you are looking for a tech career, even BFSI career, in banking financial sector as an MBA student or a general management program, the way technology is advancing is you need to have a T-shaped learning, a pie-shaped learning, deep skill on certain skill set, deep knowledge, and then having a good understanding across the domain. Like say, if I'm a BFSI, I want to have a career in BFSI. The kind of profile I'm looking for, that person should be BCom, MBA, bachelor's, whatever. But beyond that, does he have a CFA or a CA? That's an add-on. So expectations have increased. The way future of work looks like is you need to know breadth of experience across the skill and depth of skill on certain thing which is your core. You are known for that skill, but over and beyond, you should be having a good panoramic view about rest of the skill. So that's the technology advancement that I will say. The second piece will be lot of work is around gig economy, entrepreneurial in nature. Taking example of Prithvi, the way his expertise has been across the tier one companies and now board of director in couple of companies, right? So the gig economy is there to stay. There has been a constant conflict with what do you say is moonlighting. But see, we keep getting a lot of consulting assignment at 200, $300 per hour. They will say how to set up a GCC. Okay, how to set up the organogram for my company, or I have to choose an ERP package. Tell me, how did you go about doing it? Workday. Now I'm doing Darwin Box. Then I have plans of doing ATS, a lot of ATS, Grey HR, then Green Source and Greenhouse, and then Talayo, another platform. So a lot of expertise that you bring in over a period of time after 15, 20 years of work. There's a time to diversify your potential to earn, learn, and continue to grow. So I think gig economy is here for stay, and entrepreneurship will be touted as one big thing. The way industry is going to mature, uh, 10 years down the line, right? Third piece is around lifelong learning. Who had thought that I see my wife still from Cisco doing CCIE. Every 2 year you have to do the lab as well as the theory. So the learning is here to stay. And the moment you are 35, 40, you feel that I've done 10 years of work, I've done 10 years of experience, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. If you think I've done 10th, 12th engineering, MBA, then I'm sorted. Sorry, folks. You have to keep learning, reinventing the wheel. And Coursera, Udemy, other platforms are there to stay. But I personally feel you should go to institute like How to Do it. There's an institute called How to Do. The how part is important. Why we have to do, everyone knows. You can Google, do Chat GPT these days, you will know that piece. How to get it done, like how to create a nice program management template, how to create a nice Gantt chart, how to create a stakeholder mapping management kind of template. These things are something that will set you apart from the rest of the crowd. Otherwise you'll see, when we go for so I go to IMT Ghaziabad and couple of BBMs for screening profiles, like their campus place, not even placement. I'm going for their admission process, and these are things we try to see in their CV. When I go for placement, these are things we try to, what is setting you apart from the rest of the crowd. Without taking further time, and I know we are superseding time, so technological advancement, stay ahead of the curve. Try to see what is the digital revolution coming up. Automation, RPO was the best thing later. then R, Python, and all of data science came in. Now we are talking about artificial intelligence. Apply those tools, like if you have Chat GPT to 4.0, try to use that for how to make nice Canva image, how to create Gamma AI based PPTs. Content curation is a key, and that can be done just like that. You don't need number of hours. So how AI can make your life easy, right? So technological advancement, gig economy, and entire workforce being quite agile and fluid, we used to call liquid workforce. And the third piece was around lifelong learning, so that you abreast, stay abreast latest with the technology, and entire pestle analysis that we do. The political environment, the economic environment, the stability or the technology environment. So how this entire thing is revolving around, we have to stay abreast. I'll pause, Prithvi.
No, right. Thanks. Very informative, Hemant, about the cross-domain learning that you spoke about. I think moonlighting gig is here to stay, and you've articulated all of that very well. Thank you very much. Great. I think it's a great start, and then moving forward to Arvind. Arvind, what's your take on the future of work?
Okay, thank you very much, Ratish and Nailish, for this great opportunity. Since I'm addressing my leaders, dreamers, and doers of tomorrow, I'm just going to steal some thoughts from Hemant, and I'll just condense it so that all my leaders. This one good thing when you have this kind of fantastic conclaves on air. I'll just say it's all about. I mean, the whole world is moving towards something called a skill-based organization. Since this is very important, I would use the word called SBO. For being in the world of SBO, the most important thing is you get hired. I'll make it very clear, you don't get any more hired for the performance. Performance is the knowledge. But most important thing is how do you convert the knowledge into action? And the whole acronym which I would like to use is called DICE: determination, insight, curiosity, and engagement with the subject. You look at what Hemant was saying, it's all the application side. The determination is the grit and the resilience to really succeed. This so-called David McClelland's theory of need for achievement. Insight is very, very important. In the world of the so-called the future of work, the most important thing is insight and foresight. Knowledge is important. That is the E part, the engagement of the subject. The most important thing for all my leaders, dreamers, and doers in this session is try to look at something called practical wisdom. How can you apply it? You might be the best rank holder in the class, but that's good. I'm never saying that that is not bad. But what world needs is how do you convert that into practical wisdom, which is called your insight, and driving insights and foresights, which is looking into the future. That's what world is looking for. And the most important thing, which is right now coming down, is the curiosity part. Be inquisitive, ask questions, and then that's, I think Pradesh was also telling us why not. That is something which world is looking for, and that's the thing. And from the skill point, it's all about PRPC: thinking, reasoning, problem solving, and curiosity. Or I would also add one thing which I just happened to steal from Hemant. It's called TRIPS C, okay, TRIPS C, which is called thinking, reasoning, imagination. The world is missing imagination. I don't know, our fathers and forefathers were so powerful because they had a lot of this kind of things were not distracting them, so they had a lot of time to get imagine. So thinking, reasoning, imagination, problem solving, and curiosity, that suffices everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind. I think very well put and concise. I like your style of using those abbreviations, and you can put all those points together in one bucket. But beautiful points of this skill-based organization. That's what the SBO concept is.
Yes.
What is moving in. Okay, so a departure from just about experience to about skill-based that you mentioned
Absolutely.
is a fantastic thought. That's a great takeaway. Your mention about curiosity and problem solving, which has to be there, right?
Yes.
That is something which is absolutely non-negotiable.
You look at the World Economic Council,
Yeah.
the top 10 skills is all about, they say about communication, but curiosity is the key. As long as you're curious, you will be able to solve anything and everything in life. Thank you.
Absolutely. Just one small request. The abbreviation that you mentioned, some of the folks like me are a little slow in catching.
Okay.
Would you be able to type in for
Yes.
the rest of the audience so that they
Sure,
can also
sure.
benefit from your knowledge? Thank you.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Sure.
Alrighty. So now let's move. Now that we have understood what's the world of work shaping up, right? Because the skill that you need is going to have to address the world of work. Otherwise, we will be living in a two different perspectives, right? So it's very important. Now we move on to the next stage of talking about what are the specific skill and the competence in a way. So which means the skill, education, all of that put together. How does that help the Gen Z today? If the Gen Z today has to take up roles in the organizations in the corporate world or in the industry, what are those skill sets that is going to be really really required for them to remain successful? Yeah. So Mervin, would you please take that question if you're okay?
Yeah, thanks, Pritesh. Yeah, I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks.
Great. Thanks. I think we got through the unmuting and the camera, etc. At the nick of time. So thanks for inviting, and I'm sure that this is going to be a very interesting, half an hour, 1 hour. Uh, so I think with respect to just like Arvind mentioned about being curious. In my opinion, what the skills or the competencies that would be required in the near future, and I think it has been there for a very long time, and it might. I think the work culture that is changing is with respect to having more of AI, where it will do a lot of thinking for us and things like that. Of course, it still has to mature a lot, and we will come to that stage. But I think in the work life that we are in, it will happen in our work time. It is not a distant future; it is a near future where I see that AI will come in. And I think at that point in time, some of the key competencies or the key skills that we would require are more from a soft skills is a worst word to use it because it kind of undermines the necessity or the importance of that. And I would like to borrow Simon Sinek's definition of it being life skill, yeah, or maybe power skills if you have to call it. And there I think the number one thing that would be necessary would be empathy. Until and unless you are able to understand your end user's perspective, your client's perspective, your teammates' perspective, your boss's perspective, or whoever is part of that equation, if you are unable to understand their perspective, what is it that we are trying to solve, it becomes extremely difficult to then go and create a system or a process or create an amalgamation of a system and a process and a people. All of these things become extremely different if you don't understand, because otherwise it is your perspective of what is needed, and many a times that does not solve the problem. You think that it is solving the problem, but it does not. So uh, uh, empathy is a cultivable competency, if I have to call it, because sometimes it comes naturally owing to the culture that you are part of. And I would say with at least the Indian or the Southeast Asian the culture that we are in, it kind of comes a little natural to us. We are outgoing in the way we treat people, we are respectful, and all of these kind of become the basis on which empathy can be built. I think the second thing is resilience, because with the world changing at such a rapid pace, and in my opinion, it has not changed at such a rapid pace in the past. I think we will have to reinvent the way we look at things, almost maybe on a daily basis, or on a quarterly basis. So, and with that, so today, from socialism, I might be digressing it a little bit, but from socialism, communism today, at least from an Indian parlance, we are moving into a space where it is capitalism. So it becomes a quarter se quarter tak ka jivan. So everything becomes numbers and things like that. And one thing that I think is fairly very I'm happy or I'm proud of in the Gen Z is the impact that they want to create, and at the same time have that social responsibility of creating that impact, not at the cost of dwindling the environment or things like that. So there I think they are in the right space, and at that point in time resilience becomes very important. That if you fail, how quickly do you then get up and move on, rather than harping in the past of okay, this happened, that happened, and all of those things. So in my opinion, one, empathy; two, resilience; three would be continuous learning. Just like Hemant mentioned, gone are the days when we could do an MBA and then say that, hey, I'm sorted for life. I don't have to think about learning anymore. So today it's all about what is coming in new. So even if you are not directly prompting an AI machine to do the work, you have to understand what prompt engineering is. You have to understand what an LLM is. You have to understand what an AIML is, right? At least from an I'm speaking more from an IT parlance, but it becomes important to know your domain in depth so that you are able to make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, Marin, for those important points. I think a couple of things you highlighted clearly is the influencing of AI coming in, right? That is something that is inevitable. And one more thing you mentioned very categorically, it's not distant future, it is now. It has started happening. Yes, it will mature, it will evolve, a lot would happen, but then it has already started. I mean, if you look at our LinkedIn posts that we currently see, everybody, influencer is trying to give a lot of tools on AI, circulate them for the, general mass. So absolutely, that's great. I like your point on the resilience piece because fail fast and then pick it up again and start moving. That also I resonate with the curiosity bit that Hemant mentioned and Arvind also mentioned. Very, very important point. In fact, the other point you also mentioned, and I think it's time that we call this soft skill. We eliminate this from our dictionary. It's not soft skill at all. In fact, one may be great in the hard skill, or rather in that context, technical skill. But if those power skills of influence, negotiation, empathy, these are not there, how will I ever be able to make a difference? Yeah, because as an individual, as a professional, we start with a technical skill, but we have to grow in life. We have to grow in a corporate life. And then that growth in the life has to happen through power skills. Very, very well put. Thanks, Merin, for that. Right? Hemant, what about you? What is your thought on some of the skills? Do
Yeah,
you think that, they'll pick it up? Yeah.
I think Arvind, Marin, you have rightly put across, the skills that are of importance to be future ready, right? And I'll just add on the tangible incremental value to this. Um, I will talk about my case, like, 17 years, 8 companies, coming from Ranchi, a tier 3 place, which no one knew till Dhoni. So that's how bad it was. Dad was in coal India. Thankfully, I got a chance to be across India, 17 states, tangible time spent and quality time spent. So Sikkim 4 years, Delhi 2 years, Mumbai 1 year, Dubai 2 year, like that. 17 states I have been groomed with, and that's where I think the power comes. That you can always bounce back. It's not about the power of that, can I falter or not? Even if I falter, no, I can bounce back. I don't bring this expertise that, I am someone somehow, known in the industry. So being humble, agile, nimble, that, it's all about learning, put the best foot forward and keep learning. So I think that really makes, and I'll not say I was, topper or something. I was like 70, 80%, 80% all throughout 10th, 12th engineering MBA, but I was into sports and all. So I think as a fresher or as a kind of a student, if I see, and right now take pride that I go to baby IIMs, 8 of them to teach full credit course. I teach at IMT Ghaziabad. I'm at the panel of their curriculum review and all. So there I see these fresher that the basics are met. The parent at our level or previous to that generation, they have done that basic Maslow hierarchies need. The house, food, shelter, car, all those things are given to the current generation. So they don't see value in that. What they see value in is what is the purpose of the company? Why should I do this role? Today in Bangalore, they want to go to cult at 5 p.m. to have their health and all taken care of, right? So my thought process is you should know the purpose and stay skilled in terms of not hard skill, which is there, which is given. The way Prithvi said, 8 years of workex, all of us will know the basics of whatever technical role, functional role we are in. Everyone will be almost at the same par, 8 to 10 years. You will know the basic of full stack developer and all the IT because I've been into IT, ITS, I've been into Reliance and L&T of the world. So that is not a common differentiator. That's a common denominator that brings you that, technically you're sound. That's why you survived 8 years, 10 years in the industry. But now what will set you apart from here to forward is how good you are on those power skills, how good you are on networking, influencing. Those World Economic Forum will come to top 10 skills, like digital literacy for that matter. I need not be a coder, but I do need to understand what is data analytics, what is AI literacy. I should know what is Kubernetes or cybersecurity, R Python. How do we code? Because these days coding, if you see now, are in natural language processing. So you don't really need to code as those the syntax that we used to use in our days. When I was an engineer, Gloat is a platform. Go there. You can do job right now. Who has told you that 2 year MBA program I can't earn? There are students who are earning during this phase. They are part of those entrepreneurial shell, and they're working, they're getting money, funding, and they have their own companies launched right now. So think, like, 17 years old CEO earning more than $2 billion. That kind of, entrepreneurs are there in today's generation. So it's a boundaryless, immense potential kind of foreground put forward, which is cross culture, multiculture, multi global perspective kind of thing. Catalent is another platform. You go and start doing bit of work. 4 hour of job will be there on Excel creation, and also digital literacy is important. Soft skills, we all spoke about empathy, emotional intelligence, teamwork, and all. I personally feel that creativity and innovation is something that will be a differentiator. While AI will come and take care of the rest of the mundane basic role, we have to start thinking laterally that what is that creativity angle. They can create a nice story also basis the scripting. Those things are gone. Gen AI can do that. Legal rules are all gone because that is logical through basis scenario planning. So the guys have to understand, how can I bring some kind of storytelling into it, some kind of knitting the unknown, and the connecting the dots. So these are the kind of skills I think will be important. One skill I really feel that is missing in MBA students now is project management. So I'll not say only MBA student, even after 8-10 years of work, if I tell them as an HR PMO, tell me what is coming 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line. Can you give me a calendar in which you tell me which month business will be kind of, very busy? They will not have time for doing L&D. Which month I can do my PMS? Which month I should start doing PMS as a self review, mid review, and all, so that by the time this month is there, I have money from the finance to pay out, and I have done my entire 360-degree feedback. That kind of planning, I don't see people put their effort in. And it is
Right.
easy. People go to gossips and all because you don't need logic. You start doing gossiping, right? But the moment you need to do hard work, your brain has to apply the logic, they falter. So my thing is that apart from those, summarizing again, project management I think will be the key thing. Your personal
Yeah.
branding, your networking has to be meaningful. The saying is net worth is network. That means that your quality kind of networking is important. I can really bank upon those 5-10 chosen few guys, and I don't do network to gain something from them immediately. It's a
Yeah.
long term relationship. 2 years, 5 years down the line, if you've done something good to someone, good will come back to you. So with that intent, if you're doing networking, it is really meaningful and purposeful. So networking, project management, digital literacy that I spoke about, and finally the creativity and innovation part. So if these things are taken care, I think we'll be future proof.
Perfect, perfect. I think that's a pretty very focused kind of a conversation related to suggestions related to what are some of the skills that they can build on, right? And they have, I mean, as a student today, one has to become adaptable to the environment. The environment, the way AI is building up, how is my job going to change? What are some of the skills that's going to be there? And I like that point on network is net worth. That is something that is absolutely so true. Thanks, Arvind. All right, so Mavin, what's your? Let's move to the next question. Actually, how about skilling and upskilling? That you think the Gen Z would adapt and emerge? Some of it was answered by Hemant in the previous one, but Mavin, what is your thought?
Yeah, I think today um, the information arbitrage that was there, say back in the days, say in the 90s or early 2000s, where people above a certain level had more access to more information, and hence they were at that level, or probably uh, you know and they had, along with the experience. I'm not saying that that's the only reason why they were up on the ladder, and others were there, but I think that arbitrage with respect to access to information has reduced a lot. There are so many edtech platforms today that are uh, offering courses at such a dirt cheap rate. I mean, 500 rupees if you go to Udemy to find a course, you'll get it at as low as 499, 399 rupees. That's almost two burgers, right?
Yeah.
So and these are short courses. I think they have been particularly made keeping in mind uh, the mindset that people have today. Thanks to social media, everybody is switching to a different topic every 15-20 seconds. So since the attention span has gone down, and that's a reality, how do we make it more relevant to people of today? So access to these courses, and if you are able to do those, so my suggestion would be that do as many, and it will only come handy because some of these courses will be able to give you an insight into what exactly is negotiation, or what are some of the frameworks that you can use for negotiation or any of those power skills. And that becomes important because you can have those frameworks, and once you start to utilize them in your workplace or in your even when you are in college, if you're able to use the Eisenhower matrix to kind of prioritize between urgent and important, and where do I keep what is it that is going to take me more time, what is it that is most urgent or most important and urgent, and how do I utilize that. So if you
Yeah.
are able to do these courses and add them as certificates to your repertoire, that in itself becomes a differentiating factor when I'm looking at a CV. So if there are 10 people in a college where I need to shortlist 5 because I cannot interview all 10 owing to the paucity of time, then I can, what becomes a differentiator? Everybody's from the same college. Everybody has above 60% of marks. Everybody has, hobbies. Everybody's done the project that the college asks them to do because it is part of their curriculum. So
Right.
what becomes a differentiating factor then? How do I make sure that, okay, this person has put in a little more effort than the other person? Hence, can I
Right.
interview him or her first?
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it becomes important to find those avenues where you can go and let me make a difference here. Or can you do projects, because that's the best way to show what you have learned over and above the projects that the curriculum asks you to do. Can you then go and find an internship at a company to so creating a website today has become obsolete, that anyway AI is doing. So if that's your project, God save you, right? But how do you then go and understand the business problem and solve it for the end user, or for a company? In that
Right.
process you learn, and when you put it on your CV, that becomes a differentiator. So I think finding new avenues is important, and that's the reason that's my take on upskilling, reskilling,
Yeah.
multi-skilling, whatever skill we want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that point. I think very, very critical point you mentioned. There's a departure in thought and approach, is what I could pick up from your thoughts. The approach is that earlier there is to be long courses. One would join in this particular course, take about 3 months, 4 months time, finish it off, and then come back. What you're saying is that now things have changed. Things are no more need to be 3 months program. It can be a 2 weeks program. I master a particular skill set, and then I'm able to draw that experience into my work, okay, and gather more experience. So what you are also saying is that when I go to the campus and I start recruiting, I will look at how is this candidate been able to create value for themselves by acquiring as many skills as possible, right? So those are very, very reflection point for all of us. Thanks for that. All right, I think we are at about 35 minutes on the call, and I think we have over 10 more minutes to close. But we'll still try and do one more question. Is that okay with us? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. So, if you could, perhaps the last question, then this would perhaps be the last question before we move on to the Q&A session, because I can see a lot of folks who are curious in learning from you in terms of their thoughts. So we'll pick those up as well. So if you were from your respective industry, and if you're looking at those industry, what are some of the insights that you think that the students need to focus on, right? For example, if it is a building construction or civil work, if it is a IT, if it is anything that you have for your respective industries, would you share some thoughts? Hemant, would you start? We can start with you, and then we'll.
So if I got the question right, we are talking
Yeah.
about how industry academia partnership can really dull, and how business college has to have the right set of curriculum. Is that the question?
You can combine it, but the first focus of thought was that okay, your message to the folks that if you were to join a in the, company which is in the industry, which is a civil, your
Got it.
industry
Got it.
basically, you're from that
Sure,
background.
sure, sure. So
And since you have mentioned, why don't you also add up what do you think you can bridge a gap as well? Then we will fix both.
makes sense. Makes sense. So the way I see is all the industries are getting into disruptive changes, be it manufacturing companies, be it a real estate construction company. We are a group of companies, so we are, though we are into commercial, residential, BizPark kind of, commercial properties, but we are also into education. We are into getting into, real estate in the sense that, fitted homes or interior designing for that matter, or how AI is influencing our industry, how can the basic job can be RP or automated, right? So there will be kind of skill sets that are needed to make operations more intelligence, in the sense that I can do the cost cutting, I can do the efficient process, flawless process, quality can be enhanced, and I can ensure that things are on the run ready, so we don't have to search for data visibility and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? So there are skills that are hard skill needed for a particular role for a particular industry. So in real estate, if and I don't think it will be impactful to MBA folks, but at least you should know how the ramp up from 0 to 100 happens. Like how a greenfield project will be ramped up. Like say you need to start with land licensing, land acquisition, then talk about legal litigation and all to be taken care of. Then you have to have a marketing happening wherein the entire project is supposed to be touted and told to RERA and all the promising customer we have to reach out to. So it's like market tapping. The talent, the target audience has to be identified who can
Yeah.
really be doing the lead, and we use technology like 1.4 cr we pay to Facebook every month to garner those leading leads who can be touted as potential buyer for our property. So that's where analytics comes in, right? So people have to have those basic understanding of the role that they are getting into. If MBA, finance, HR, admin, and IT, we are hiring CEOs, CFOs for that matter at around 2 CR right now, and I'm looking at 8 to 10 CFOs for different entity. So the finance guys are supposed to have the basic hard skill, which is obviously the MBA finance plus CFA, if that is possible. Have a lot of hands-on experience in terms of project assignments and all that you have clocked. Have some gig economic kind of a project. I've told Gloat, Catalan, these are the platform you can go. You can come to us also for internship. I really personally engage in a lot of internship based program, so that there is a partnership with the college, and we get to know the student in year 1 of MBA or year 3 or 4 of BTech, so that there's a deep understanding that why this company, what is their role, what is their culture, and do I resonate with them or not. So that is something GE used to do 100 years back. Now we are doing in Indian companies, right? So coming back to the point, what can make them skill ready in my industry? I think don't think about hard skill only. Think about we call as methodologies. So agile thinking, program management, stakeholder is going to cut across each role. Doesn't matter which kind of role you are into, which industry you are into. I have
Yeah.
settled into this industry after 17 years of work in Wipro, Accenture, Consulting, Kantar, Ebenbev, all IT, ITS or GCC companies. And now coming in real estate, I quickly try to unlearn that whatever I have bring the expertise, no, it is of no use. You have to resonate with the work culture that you are in, workplace that you are sitting in, and workforce that you are interacting with. So that learning agility is the key thing which Arvind was talking, the curiosity to
Yeah.
learn, unlearn. I think that will make you set apart to learn faster and have your 30, 60, 90 days planner that what I'm gonna achieve, and
Yeah.
clock those things through your networking. Come start having that stakeholder connect. There will be few on your side, there will be a lot not on your side. Try to give them the easy win, so that everyone starts singing to your team.
Got it. Got it. No, very valid points. Thanks for that. I think so. MBA students can even get into your organization,
Yeah, yeah,
even or any organization for that matter, and because it's a general field of management. One of
correct,
the things you mentioned is about how about stressing on the project management piece. It's a
correct.
greenfield project, and I need to scale it up and I need to ramp up. That's what you mentioned. So if you were to ramp up, then you need project management skills, you need program management skills, and a series of other skills. I think one of the other thing you mentioned also about the practical experience part, and
Correct.
that is something that one can learn a skill, but the application of that skill is an important aspect. And no other better way of doing that during the internship, during some other industry academia. You mentioned about industry academia.
Having a mentorship program, if you go to LinkedIn,
Yeah,
you find who are the mentors you want to stay connected, see if they have
yeah,
kept themselves as open to mentor. There are a lot of platform also which can provide you mentorship. So if these
that's correct.
students get their right set of mentor, I was privileged enough to have those during my initial career, and
Got
that
it.
really helps, because 100 books you read and 1 hour you spend time with a qualified learned folk. I think that makes more impact than spending time learning through LinkedIn learning or anything like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, quickly, Arvind and Marin, if you can also take about 2 minutes to share your thoughts, that will be great.
Marin, would you like to go first so that I can steal your and Heman's idea?
Uh, yeah, I
From
think
what level?
It's okay. You can go ahead. I'll.
Okay, sure. I'll again, what I was also getting a lot of fantastic questions in the whole platform, Pradesh. So this one is basically take us detoxify yourself from this phone if possible. And one important thing which just strike me again, took from Barin and Hemant, very important thing is whenever you're going for an interview, the most important interview or whatever things in life, when you progress or when someone is looking for your potential index, they're looking for something called VIC, the value, the impact, and the contribution through your words, action, and thought. And to me, that is leadership. And leadership is not about the title and position. Everyone who's in this room or who's attending this is a leader by himself, if he or she believes it. Because we are addressing leaders and dreamers and doers of tomorrow. And most important thing is whatever comes, and I think that is most important. And that, I mean, and maybe it's an maybe I'm a pure Indian. I'm not, kindly don't get me wrong, because I think the whole philosophy here is just becoming a manager. But the whole thought process is, can my whole words, action, and thoughts can be seen as a leader? Do you have an impact, the value, and whatever you speak, think, and do, the contribution part, creating impact and value. If you start doing that, this three dimensions, if you can look at, immediately you will see results coming in. And as Hemant was saying, never actually, I think very important point, you don't do projects or certificate. There is one of the fantastic questions which was coming in. Can a lot of certifications give me value? Absolutely not. I have seen some of the students I have interviewed, they have almost 30, 40 Coursera's and EDX done. But then when I ask them simple question of a working capital, they are confused. So that means the whole point is lost. It is not about showcasing or beefing up your profile. I'm sorry. That is good, but practically, can you apply it? Including your toppers from the best IB business schools, I have seen students failing in answering few of the basic concepts. Your concepts cannot be flawed. You need strong possession of your knowledge that gets converted into skill, which is called the foresight and insight. And if you lose focus on that, probably the whole scheme of things gets flawed. That's my take. Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic point. VIC, if you could also help, give us those details on VIC values. So, what you're saying is the leadership approach is not theory.
No.
Right? Leadership is not theory. It is practical application of the whatever you have learned, right?
Yes.
And that is where you get to see. And the interesting input that you give is, and Marin also spoke about it last time, while we will go to the campus to look at folks who have upskilled them or reskilled them, but it's important that they do that seriously. Okay, which means that they understand, if I take up a course on working capital, I should get to know what is working capital. I should be able to tell not just at the interview stage, but also use it in a practical application of it, right? And I think institute's responsibility also comes there to give them that experience that they are able to do that. Yeah, you have another point?
Pradesh, another point just strike me. And this is my humble request to all growing engineers and leaders in this room, please don't get restricted to that horse kind of mindset where I am only a marketing guy, finance. You look at it, and I want everyone to look yourself as a C-suite kind of leader. C-suite people, the CEOs, CTOs, or a CHRO or CMOs or CEOs or CEOs, they don't say that I know only finance, I'll only take it up. And I want everyone to understand it's a breadth of the breadth of knowledge, the T-shaped thought process. You might be a specialist down, as I think Hemant was also emphasizing on that, but have the curiosity or inquisitiveness and appetite to learn from anything and everything. If marketing is there, just understand what is happening. So I think your mobile phones, besides the Book My Show and other things, you should always have McKinsey apps, KPMG apps, Deloitte apps, so that it will keep you abreast of what is it, and be like a Google kind of company. 10x always matters. Google is Google because it does things at a 10x velocity. That's why the competitors are behind. So I would request all my leaders to keep that T-shaped thinking with 10x mindset. Sorry, I'll not speak more.
No. Thanks for that. Thank you very much. Thanks for that. Very valid point. Okay, Marin, your take.
Yeah, I think my take, and I totally agree with Arvind, right? You can do a lot of courses on any of these platforms, but if you're not able to, convert that into insight, and that insight will come through internships. And somebody was asking on the chat group as well, how do I find these internships? There are so many companies looking for interns. You'll be able to find
Yeah.
there are platforms where you can go and check for it. And if you're able to make that, along with doing an MBA, if you're able to do 3 4 internships during that 2 year period, that kind of, because when you go into a system, try and understand, that is what will make that difference. That's the time and again, I think Arvind has been writing, how do you build that wisdom? That wisdom will only come when you go and work in a system, otherwise it is not. Because a Coursera will not be able to teach you wisdom. It will only be able to teach you frameworks which you will have to apply in a system to kind of get that. The second thing that I think that I would like to mention, and I also put it in the chat group as well, on the answer to one of the questions. As Gen Z, I think there's a lot of, because there is a lot of influence through social media. Everybody wants to create an impact. Everybody wants to become an influencer, and I think in half of those influencers are actually influenza and not influencers. Uh, in that rut of making an impact, I think everybody is waiting for how, if I don't make an impact, let me change an organization. Maybe the system in itself is wrong. Maybe the people here are too slow to create an impact. Impact is not created overnight, right? You have to give it time. It's like the baby needs 9 months to develop. A human baby needs 9 months to develop. So give it time, put in your best efforts, and you will see impact in due course of time. The other thing that I would like to mention is with respect to you know being extremely open to different, just like Arvind mentioned, right? Being extremely open to different projects or different viewpoints, because sometimes it's you think that it's my way or the highway. I have this because my past has told me that this is going to work in such a scenario. Maybe if you listen to somebody who's junior or senior with their perspective, you might find it a little interesting. So be open to conversations, be open to perspectives, and don't shut yourself to those perspectives. And if you do that, you are bound to learn. So have that empathy to understand the perspective of the other person. uh, don't be in a hurry to make an impact, and make sure that you're able to create wisdom with the work that you do.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Maran. I like that concept of influencer to influencer. Never become an influencer, but be an influencer. That's a great message. And that be patient with your skilling. What is your next message to the group is be patient with your skilling and take your time and build it instead of hustling over it and, and not getting where you want to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great points. Thanks. Arvind, you raised your hand. You want to share
Yeah,
something?
I think I'll only blame Marin for this. He made me think little more. This is my last
Okay.
statement. With this, I'll
Sure.
never speak. But I think to all my leaders in this room, the question is, what would you be known for? It boils down to what Marin said. It boils down to 4 I's: your identity, which is your strengths, values, and your interest areas. Number one. Number two, the intent. He was, in fact, Marin and Hemant were emphasizing on the behavior part. Intent always matter. Third, again stealing from Marin, the impact you create. Fourth, through the impact you have influence. I don't know whether the
Wow.
story makes sense, but at least I could connect what Marin said. Thank you.
Absolutely. Beautifully put. You can again log that in the chat box so that folks can pick it up.
Sure.
Fantastic. I think a couple of things are coming out, and we are going to conclude now. A couple of things are coming out clearly is that um, we need practical know-how of the jobs, and that cannot happen in just about theory. Theory is a good, strong element of it that will give us the foundation, but that theory has to be executed, because when somebody is coming to the campus for an interview, or even at the corporate after we picked up that person and place that person, the person should be able to work. The person should be able to really drive value from perhaps day one, right? That's why most organization has this internship, which is a very robust, strong internship. Some of the organizations I've worked, I know for a fact that they are very, very cut out, tailor made in an internship program, which is not just necessarily about just giving them whatever job. But a true organization is also somebody who really is invested into that internship by giving them practical work, by actually pushing that person, that student to learn the job, right? In fact, in one of our model, the model that we have at India Skill Bridge is called STAR. It's called Skilled Talent, like you, Arvind. I like that abbreviation, so I'm sharing. Skilled Talent Appointment Ready. Star. Okay, so we have a module which talks about theory, practice, mentoring, all of that put together. It's a star network of kind of a program. So great. So maybe that is for some other day to talk about. I would like to thank you all for Arvind, Hemant, and Merit for your thoughts. These are very very vital thoughts, and I'm sure you have also incited a lot of questions among the students and the audience seated here listening to us. Beautiful points. It's been a very rich conversation, and really like to thank you for that. Right, I'm hoping for more information coming our way. So yeah. So now let's move on to the next phase of the Q&A. That is something which is also an exciting area. There are a lot of questions been put up. If you feel I'm opening this up to any three of you to pick up, or if I'll also pick up wherever I think I can contribute. So please pick it up, and you can mention. Anybody has an incremental point of view, do it up. Yeah. So let's go. Let's go to the chat box and have a look at it.
There are few questions actually put up in the Q&A sections also.
Sure. Can then somebody guide in terms of?
I'll help to read it out. I'll help to read it out. So in Q&A, there's a question. Hello, sir. Am I doing? Okay, I am doing a digital marketing. Can you suggest me some tools or techniques which can use to upskill in this field?
So let me pick it up. In the deep tech, when you're talking now, we have to have the basics of programming and coding. That is the basic requirement. Then you move up the value chain, understand R, Python, apply that in AI. Bit of C++ in robotics is these days key learning. Machine learning is there forever. So the way artificial intelligence works, it's I read in one of the quote. It's like applying machine learning on internet. So machine learning generally you do within your company network or intranet platform. But once you start doing, because you need a lot of big data or cloud data, right? Once the data size is a big, then the machine learning will really start emphasizing like your AI. So I think these understanding of machine learning AI is key. How it operates, the big data, the Hadoop part of it, the data analytics and modeling. There's a lot of buzz going around on that. Hadoop is there, MongoDB is there. Then you need to know the data visualization part of it, which is around Power BI or any other tool like ClickSense was there. I don't know what is the latest. Google has come up with their own reporting, framework. Use these, and finally, I'll say that be very sure of what is ethical and responsible innovation, because a lot of biases come in. So you should be able to see that how interdisciplinary data can be seen without having a bias to a particular gender. Like say Amazon was doing this, and they were using it into ATS platform for hiring, and they safely secluded women away from the prospective candidate to be hired for. So be very clear about ethical dilemmas and responsible innovation.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. There is one more question.
Can I just add on, Sujit, just one point that I'd like to add on, especially on the digital marketing piece. I think, see, one is the design element of it, the other is the SEO part of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you could, the person who's asked that question, I think it's Shubham. Shubham, if you could look at both of it. Okay, first, you don't have to go to the advanced part of digital marketing. Look at some basics. From the designing perspective, look at Canva. How good are you? Reflect and see how good are you in Canva. Have you understood all the elements of Canva? Do you know how to design a logo? Do you know how to design a basic stuff? So that's the designing element part of it. Then there is a content creation part of it in terms of how are you going to author. So like, I think Hemant pointed out, using of AI in content creation is very important. However, do look at the ethical part of it, and do look at also the human intelligence has to also go in, right? So that's the second part in terms of content creation. The third part quickly is about the SEO optimization. Do take up tools which are popular. Do not take up tools, my personal suggestion, do not take up tools which are unique and novel, but do pick up tools which are traditional, because that's what the industry will look at. Industry will not pick up any new tool that will come their way. They will use a tried and tested one. So that's the incremental, input to you. Sujit, over to you.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Arvind has to say something.
No, I just wanted to only just highlight one thing. to all the people present here, see, this AI or the chat GPT or Google has been killing creativity and it has been killing imagination. My humble request is please don't use laptop or mobile phone when you get a problem. Please take a pencil and a paper, start widening your perspectives. More than brainstorming, do a lot of idea storming because anything, even if you look at great people at a BBO or I don't know BBDO or big this one Ogilvy method. This is something where I had to go for one of the sessions there. I always see them. They only have blank paper and pens given to them and a lot of post-its. This is my humble request to all my leaders. Let's not directly jump into the solving the problem. Let's understand the whole set of problem from the imagination and creativity. Don't give that homework also to chat GPT because then it becomes like we are not using the so-called brain power to the full this one.
Absolutely.
Last thought. I'm sorry if I've hurted someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's one question which actually not from a skilling perspective, it's all about healthy work-life balance on or for employees. If you want to answer, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll take it up, and probably I don't know if this is the right answer to give. So I think Shruti asked that question, sir. Can you elaborate? How can a company support healthy work-life balance for its employees, which I guess is very challenging. Uh, I think Shruti, how you should look at it is so. This I am borrowing from my mentor, Mr. Krishna Gopal. He's written a piece on this as well in one of his blogs, which is there is a continuum. On one side you have ambition, on the other side you have contentment. Okay, where do you put yourself on that continuum or that scale is going to be very, very important. In the initial period of your life, as you are entering a corporate setup, if you put it on the contentment side, there's absolutely no there's nothing wrong with putting yourself on the contentment. You want to have a 9 to 6 kind of a job, you want to join SBI, there's absolutely no problem. And I'm not trying to belittle SBI. All I'm saying is there are organizations which will give you a 9 to 6 kind of a job. There are roles which will give you a 9 to 6 kind of a job where you come in at 9, you do your work, get out at 6. There's nothing else that is there. Then there are roles. If you go to companies like Deloitte or KPMG, even in there, even in these consulting firms, you will have roles which are limited. You will have roles where you will have to put in 12-14 hours of work as well. So you have to take a conscious decision of where you want to be on that continuum, and accordingly take a decision, accordingly choose a role that, okay, this is at in my family. And it becomes extremely more difficult for a lady or a woman, because traditionally, at least culturally, there is a lot of expectations that are there. So at Sama, we are doing a program called as Lean In, which is uh, uh, based on the book written by Sheryl Sandberg called Lean In, where we kind of help them to try and understand that, hey, it is not necessary to leave your job to kind of then take care of the family. You can do both, as long as you are able to break some traditional mindsets in your mind that I have to become a superwoman to kind of manage the family and my husband and the kids and the in-laws and my parents and everything else. Can you create support systems so that you are able to take care of some of these things? Can you then go ahead and make a crash facility available so that you are able to leave your kid and at the same time work, so that you can go and then attend to your newborn whenever it is necessary? So coming back, I digress a little bit, but I'm sorry for that. Coming back to that, you have to make sure where you want to be on that continuum. Accordingly, take a decision as to what role you want to take, because only that will give you the balance that you are looking for. Otherwise, it's all about work-life integration. You get in, do your morning meetings. Suddenly, you have a PTM meeting. You need to go to the school, come back, then you stretch 2 hours in the evening. All of this is today given, and I think it's a choice whether you want to do that or you want to shut down your laptop at 6 o'clock and then say that now I'm done. And both are okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong in any of those.
Correct. Thanks, Martin. Arvind, you raised a hand. You want to answer this?
No. I was just it was a hand raised earlier. So now I have promised Pratish that I will not speak. So all done.
Why not? Why not? Please go on. Yeah.
So actually, there are a lot of a question. I'm trying to consolidate everything. There's one question which I've seen repeated time coming, The context of the question is pretty much same in both the chats I've seen. It talks about what roles do soft skill such as communication and collaboration plays in ensuring Gen Z's success in the evolving job market. I've seen this pattern of the question in many times.
Super. Do you want me to take it? I can take it, and then maybe
go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know how much I can emphasize. 99% of your success or the impact gets created by the word called communication. If you do your MBA from any kind of business schools, the most important thing is the communication. And when it comes to communications, please detoxify yourself from this thing, because I think this thing is giving you some wrong things the way you communicate in the email and other things. Yeah. It's just that I'm very old, but that doesn't mean that I have said that bad things about mobile phones. But on a very serious note, please put a lot of emphasis in listening, observing, and stealing of ideas. Stealing is not my word. I have taken it from Steve Jobs. But listening is coming down these days. Observation is coming down these days because we are so much distracted and disrupted and disturbed by these mobile phones. I would request all my leaders being part of the sessions to do a lot of reading. Elon Musk completes 300 books managing 7 companies in a year. So we can do more than that. I'm a personal believer of, and if, as Marin said, reading of all those books, Lean In, Option B of Sheryl Sandberg for all women leaders, you would be taking up yourself to the next level of excellence. Some of the books which is recently coming from HBR is all about that. So first and foremost, communication is not about just doing something in your WhatsApp. How do you write a fantastic email? How do you, as I'll take another word from Hemant, storytelling. How much of us can narrate or have a narrative of our own story called our own life? And this is important from the interviewing skills. So when you go for an interview, you just put 60% of things. You only during the interview you speak 60%. The remaining 40% should only come in your profile, not you put everything. So all those things really matter. How much you know yourself. Knowing thyself is the power. So communication is the essential ingredient in the whole scheme of things.
I'm really thankful for all the panel speakers. You are proactively answering all the questions in Q&A, which I was seeing it. So I'm not picking up any question very specifically. If you really want to pick up any of the question which you think that it's a right time to speak about those questions, please feel free to, because there are so many questions and I'm seeing a lot of it being already answered.
My only point is a lot of good questions were there and I was trying to answer, and I was getting logged out of the page. But if you can summarize those questions, send it back to us as a panel, we can give the answer back so that it can be some use to the 100+ folks who had been on the call patiently for last 1.5 hours, right?
Absolutely. Very interestingly, I'm seeing as and when we speak, the questions are increasing. And a very interesting thing I just want to share you, there are offline students who were watching us. So from the ASM, I just want to share my screen and, quickly show everybody what is happening in the institution.
Wow, good.
So as we are talking, so there are students who are listening in the campus to us. So these are all offline students who are sitting there and were, participating into this.
Awesome.
So what I'll do, I'll collate all the questions and send it to you and then float it back to all our attendees. That will be more structured.
Right.
So now I request Divyani ma'am, you can unmute yourself and just, yeah, ma'am is there. Unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I request you to just, for a quick word of thanks.
Sure. My apologies for missing out and coming, because of the technical snag. And I have been following each of our esteemed panelists, what they had to say. And it has indeed been a very insightful session. And I like the trip concept. Thinking, reasoning, imagining, problem solving. It is really need of the hour. I mean, and this in a way takes us to our roots also. Now that we are propagating our old our Gurukul system. I mean, this is exactly what was done over there, and that gave us so many scientists and mathematicians and management gurus. Now, the management style of Shivaji Maharaj, the management style of Samarth Ramdas is taught in esteemed universities. So I am sure our students also and the audience could relate the concepts that are required for good career opportunities and at the same time gain knowledge pulled out from their roots. So I really want to thank Prithvish for moderating the session. Mr. Hemant Kumar Ravi, Mr. Marin Varghese, and Mr. Warrior Arvind for all the entire insightful session. And of course, our team from NextGen Inno and our faculties and all the attendees of this webinar. Thank you so much. And I look forward to joining and taking full advantage of the knowledge sharing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Manish, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks all the esteemed speakers, Prithvish, Devani ma'am, Sujit, our backend team, Rahul Dase, digital marketing head, Saurabh, and everyone who put an effort. Thank you, Hemant, Merin, Arvind, and Prithvish sir for Allah for accepting my request and joining us on such an short notice. And thank you for joining the session. This I will say this session has come to an end. Looking forward to meet you in the future for upcoming webinars, upcoming offline events, and let's take the community ahead. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.